Yeah. Mr. Phelps here mentioned Miss Coleman. Miss Coleman, I lived a block and a half, and Miss Coleman lived in the 700 block of Poplar Street before she moved to Jessup Street.
Yes.
And the one thing you did every morning in her class, when you're in her homeroom, you would pledge allegiance to the flag, cite the Lord's Prayer, and the 23rd Psalm.
23rd Psalm,
right. Every morning.
Right.
And it really started back in grade school too, because we had a principal, Miss Edwards, who was in charge of the elementary schools.
Sophie J. Edwards.
2021, number 520. She was in charge of those schools, and she moved all through the week. Each one of those schools had an office in each one of those. Yeah. And then speaking of Mr. Morrisfeld, he taught typing, business courses down at Carver Vocational. That was in the 500 block of Front Street, right across from the WHY. Down there. And we had our late frat brother, Richard Flemings, who was a principal at Carver.
I didn't know that.
And and then at Howard we had the body shop. And then looking at the community in itself, we were surrounded by teachers, doctors, and
that was great.
Doctors. We had a dentist, Dr. Pico.
Yeah, Dr. Pico.
Around the corner from you there in the 1000 block of Poplar Street.
Right.
Right up to the 9th and Poplar, Dr. Giles on the corner.
Yeah.
He was a Kappa. He was a Kappa. I had the privilege of talking with him. I had an employee that I was supervising when I was, before I retired. He was staying with Dr. Giles. We had Dr. Goins in the 500 block of 10th Street.
Yeah.
We had Dr. Anderson, who had his office in the 800 block of Poplar Street, so he moved to Taylor and Poplar.
Yeah, I remember that.
He lived in the 500 block of 9th Street. Dr. Brown, down the corner at Taylor and Lumber, and his brother, Squat Brown, they called him, right across the street from him. And then we had Dr. Cosson up there at 8th and French, okay? And we had Dr. Gumpton, who lived down across the street from Miss Redding, there on 10th Street off of Walnut. And we had Dr. Sykes, who was also a dentist. And so we were surrounded. And then looking at morticians. We were surrounded with morticians.
Mr. Gray.
Mr. Gray at 8th and Walnut.
Yes.
And we had Thornton there in an 800 block of Poplar Street, Ed Bell at 900 block of Poplar Street, Mr. Calk at Taylor and Pine.
Oh yeah, right around the corner.
Right, and across on 8th Street, almost directly behind me, we had
Mr. Ware.
Mr. Ware was a mortician.
Why was it that
a lot of
they had
beauticians
so much?
too.
Now you can see how rich and financially things were happening with all of the businesses there.
Right.
And I can remember those men. It's like it was yesterday.
Right.
And even you had a white doctor in the neighborhood, Bartoszewski.
Yes.
Bartoszewski drugstore.
Yeah.
But prior to that, we had Dr. Miller, right off the corner of 8th and Poplar, next door to the beauty shop. Matter of fact, he owned that whole building there. And he attended my dad when we lived on 600 block of Tatton Street. With a doctor, he had come out of the service, and he was right down the street from Dr. Anderson. Dr. Anderson sort of broke the discrimination situation at Delaware Hospital.
Oh, really?
He was on the staff at Delaware Hospital, Dr. Anderson was.
Did you guys have the doctors coming to your houses?
They came to the house.
Yes.
They came to the house, and we saw Dr. Anderson was my family doctor with a family so large, he's right up the corner. And matter of fact, I even worked at his office up there, helping to clean up. And prior to his being located at Taylor and Poplar, that was a restaurant, the Lone Star Restaurant, right there. And I used to sell llama beans, snap string beans for August Quarterly. Started on Friday evening. In late August, we have August Quarterly. And the teachers lived within in the community. Miss Berman and her sister, Miss Courage, lived right there in 800 between Taylor and 8th on Lumber Street. Miss Wilson was substitute there at 9th and Poplar, 9th and Lombard rather. Miss Harrison on West, Miss Coleman, and her sister was also a teacher. She taught kindergarten.
What do you suggest to bring this rich history back in terms of getting our young people to put education first. What? Just give me a quick little summarization. I know we have to.
We need to get the curriculum of the schools involved in the history of the past, because we have a terrific history. In fact, I'm wearing this button. A gentleman who was born in Delaware went across the country, received money, and made a movie regarding this subject of Black history.
Okay.
And he interviewed quite a few people and wanted to get the ideas as to why we can't have Black history all year round instead of just 28 days or 29 days during February. So we've got to bring this out and get it done in writing and on film and so forth, and get it adapted in curriculum. Several years ago, I used to give lectures at Howard, but it was voluntary on who participated, so not many teachers volunteered at their classes, because the kids would see the memorabilia room and say, "What is this?" And they were really interested in it and so forth. But we've got to bring this before the people and get it known, because it's very important. We are somebody. So this button says that every month is Black History Month.
Somebody sum it up right quick. I know we have to.
We have to get back to what we're talking about right now, and it's got to become part of our everyday teachings. And that urban renewal that they did,
Yes.
we got to go back and reclaim that heritage, because it's written. It's nothing we have to make up or write. It's been written. We got to bring it up out of the archives and teach it. That's what we have to do.
Sykes, 1 minute.
Yeah, well, we need, other thing is the foundation for that, so it starts at home.
Yes.
You got to have the foundation of the parents starting at home and get the discipline and get the kids headed in the right direction. So,
And just in listening, I think that with many of the issues that we're facing, and we're pushed so much with getting content out, that they don't realize that the process is as important as the content.
That's exactly.
And the fact that we need to look at the process, and the part of that process is getting the young people to know their history, know who they are, and where they are, and what the East Side and West Side was about. Then they can begin to appreciate the content that is being given to them. And until we begin to realize that the process is important,
yes.
Yeah.
no matter how much you put in as far as tests and all those other things, these young people are not taking it in.
Right.
And so we need to get back to these major points, because you appreciated it because of the fact that you lived it and it was given to you.
Right.
So we thank you this evening. We again, I was brought up, from Philadelphia on the rich history, and so and see that there's a wealth of knowledge here that we have to make certain that our young people know about. So we thank you for coming this evening. We see that our birthday person is here also to check up on us, Michael. So to all of you March people, happy birthday, and thank you for this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.